It's already happening. Many people are becoming aware of their sensitivities and they're advocating for a world that adapts to the sensitivities rather than strategies to numb and get rid of the sensitivities to function in the world. Hello, and we say a fantastic day to you. We are the Fighting Council. How can we be of assistance at this time?
Hello, hello. Nice talking to you. Um, I wanted to ask today, I just was coming across the concept of indigo children, and probably they're indigo grandparents by now. So I wanted to get a little bit clear about these phases of incarnation where a different flavor of beings incarnate for a period. Like was called indigo children, and presumably there's new phases since then. So can you comment on this concept of the phases of incarnation?
Yes, these describe the different sorts of psychic experiences and tendencies that beings incarnate with. You could see these different groups come across periods of time, though there sometimes are beings that don't necessarily incarnate chronologically. In other words, some beings might resonate with being an indigo, even though they are born in a later generation. There are indigos, there are the crystal children. Some say there are also the rainbow children. Yes.
And what are the qualities? I mean, apparently the shift to the indigo children was quite a noticeable shift. What are the qualities from your point of view where you can observe this?
Indigos have a strong intuition and psychic sense. They have very high sense perception. So they tend to rather feel energy much more palpably. Their empathic sense is sometimes overwhelming for many, which cause some to numb out or to find ways to hide their own sensitivities. Many indigos have gifts of energy healing, of channeling, and of connecting to unseen realms. Some have not been as well adjusted to integrating living with these great sensitivities as others have been.
And there must be now indigo grandparents, let alone parents. Um, are they having an influence in families? Are they having an influence in societies or leadership?
Well, of course, many have been a part of spiritual movements have been having this indigo vibration, whether or not they have resonated with it or not. Not all who have this sort of energy have been able to open to it and work with it. Some have let their gifts go dormant, while others have used the powers and sensitivities that they've incarnated with to make a difference, to care for others, to teach others about opening to the psychic realm and so the world of subtle energies.
Right. Um, are there any dramatic influences and changes in the others you mentioned, the crystal children, the rainbow children? Are there impacts happening from their generation?
The crystal is a slightly more recent generation, and so are the rainbows. Crystal children sometimes have a very different sort of social skills. They can be very highly intuitive. Some of this generation can actually incarnate with memories from their previous lifetimes. Those who don't have the exact clear memories will at least have very strong inclinations towards foreign cultures that they remember through their other lives.
Mm.
Of these beings are very drawn to crystals themselves, drawn to work with them and create grids. The crystal generation is very artistically inclined, though some of them are challenged by the modern schooling system and do much better off when they have ample time to explore creative expression and the ideas that generally interest them. Being forced fed a curriculum is even more difficult for the beings with these degrees of sensitivity.
Right. Are there any new phases of children lined up to come in our Earth's future?
Yes. Well, you can see that many children now that are incarnating in what you call the developed world will be very different because of all of the technologies that they grow up with. So they will be beings that interact with the world in a much different way. They will also be much more empathic as a whole. We're not talking about a specific group of people, we're talking about all of these beings. Now, many of them already have this heightened empathic sense. Some of the challenges they will face, though, is that they will not have as great of a tolerance for stress. And while this might come as a difficulty for the systems that are set up in your world around the time that they become adults, it the fact that they will be generally unwilling to do some of the jobs and tasks that have been performed in the past will cause a massive wave of change in your world.
Interesting. But when will that be?
It will be taking place over the next 10 to 20 years, you could say.
Okay. Okay. I was reminded about the human design predictions about 2027 being a very distinct change in the background. What they call it incarnation cycles. They say that completely different beings will incarnate from the middle of 2027. Is there some truth in this?
Yes, that's correct.
And is it like in human design, it's a precise clock. It's like exactly such and such a date to the second in 2027. Is there a big change that you observe from your perspective at that date?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. Um, yeah,
But
that.
you might not see it or feel it in a specific way. Over time, it will be clear.
Mm-hmm. Humans design the original predictions of Ra, who's no longer with us, um, are that a new kind of being is coming. A being that autism is the sign of this new being that's coming, but they will communicate in a telepathic way and form little groups, and they will be incredibly powerful in ways that we don't understand. Is this going to happen?
Yes,
Wow.
not quite, not literally, but in some senses, it's already happening. Many people are becoming aware of their sensitivities and they're advocating for a world that adapts to the sensitivities rather than strategies to numb and get rid of the sensitivities to function in the world. And this is a sort of revolution that is, in many senses, already underway.
Sure. Sure. Another thing is that the human design idea is that individuality is going to be the only path forward instead of our communal systems where you're sort of pleasing the group or doing what's expected. The only way that will survive in the very near future will be to be an individual, know yourself, and to live as yourself. Do you see that as well?
Not in the same way that you've put it. We see that there's a vast importance for the idea of individuation, as in knowing yourself and knowing yourself as distinct from others, though there will be actually a stronger need for community collaboration, togetherness. And a new way of relating in community will take place in your world. Stronger communities, people coming to realize that living in their own bubble, in their own flat, detached from the rest of the world is not necessarily what is most exciting for them, and coming to re energize a tribal mindset with the idea of individuality and knowing oneself and one's own values as the core tenet of what brings you to discover who your true tribe is.
That's great. Is there anything more you want to say on that?
Well, in some senses, the idea of individuality in your world has been hijacked to fuel the idea of consumerism, which benefits those at the very top. And this false sense of individuality says that I need to be the very best and have the very best. And it's based on comparing oneself to others. It's a sort of hierarchical ideology in which people are judged as better or worse, whereas in the individuality that we discuss as an individuation, while in still recognizing the need for community and tribe, it's more about seeing how you stand out as a means of understanding what your gifts are and mastering those gifts as a way to support your community. So it's individuating to be the best asset for your community rather than individuating as a way to be the very best person within your community. They're very different ideas that sometimes people don't fully distinguish from the other.
Mm, mm. Great. So we're recording this in March 2025, and I noticed there's some political changes, or sort of, it seems a bit of a bumpy road in some of the politics around the planet. What
That's
what do you see happening in the political world and how it affects people?
well, the movement towards greater polarization allows for discordant energies to be released. And it allows for everyone to step into greater levels of empowerment, though the storms that rise in the wake are not easy. They leave the space for fertile ground to grow in the future. There will be volatility, a sense of things moving back and forth from threat to safety and back again quickly. It's sort of a rapid wave of deconstruction. There will come to be, in some senses, a revolution, though it will not be violent in the same way as the revolutions in the past.
And when will this be?
Hmm. We do say between the end of this year and the beginning of 2027, it's likely.
Right. And is there anything more you want to say about the nature of the revolution?
Well, it will affect mostly the United States, though there will be many uprisings in Asia and Russia. Beyond that, it's not really a major concern. It's simply a turning of the powers that is inevitable.
Mm-hmm. And what about Europe?
At this time, things will actually recalibrate in a positive way, and bonds between nations will be strengthened.
Mm, that's great. Well, are there any final comments you'd like to say on any of the topics we've talked about today?
Remember that acting on your passion to the best of your ability without insisting on an outcome is how you become the best version of yourself. And by becoming the best version of yourself, it isn't that you are fixing something that's broken or improving what is flawed. It's simply that you're allowing love, joy, passion to radiate through your being so that the natural genius and magic that is within you is accessible. That's all it takes. It doesn't have to be something so over the top. It's simply becoming emotionally intelligent in the way that you understand why you feel what you're feeling and navigate those experiences to get to the core of your being and your heart. And as you come to know your heart and how it works, you reprogram yourself to continuously choose what allows your heart to be expanded and stable, to be in that state of awe and overflow. And from that state, you become the greatest, most empowered version of yourself. And that energy ripples and radiates to others. And the more people find what lights their heart up, the more your world will change. And this is what brings about a soft revolution. It is not a revolution of aggression and rage, but it is the revolution of love and compassion, beginning with the love of being the being you are. And as this energy again raises and ripples between people, yes, many things will change. Many people mistake selfishness as what it takes to individuate and to really care for oneself. But you will see that it is sharing your gifts that brings back the greatest love and connection to the one source. And it is in this sharing, this overflowing of the love that's within you, that you will gain the access to the love that is infinite. So you will have to go beyond the idea of hoarding energy and learn more how to let go and be open and free. Through sharing your energy, you will find that freedom.
Right. That sounds a lot like the Flower Power 1960s. Sounds like the same message.
In some senses, it's similar, yes.
Right. Great. Well, thanks very much. It's been very educational today, and I think we're complete for now.
Oh, all right. Thanks to you as well, then, yes.
Bye bye. Ciao.
On the spaceship of Babel, we are gliding through the stars on a 5-year mission beyond Jupiter and Mars. A celestial encounter on a future Noah's Ark, and you won't hear us coming if you whisper in the dark. There's an Ewok close behind me as we try to disembark here. Obi-Wan Kenobi as we whisper in the dark. Whisper in the dark.